Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. B from Cajun Country here. Hoping you're having a good afternoon. Glad you were able to stop by. It's good knowing that you're out there. Let's take a minute to talk about a couple of things. Not too long tonight, but just want to reflect on a couple of thoughts. First, let's find out. Hey Google, what's the temperature in Thibodeau?
In Thibodeau right now, it's 82 degrees. Due to the current humidity, it feels like it's 90.
Well, it was 94 as a high today. It's late in the evening now, and so it's getting in the mid 80s. The humidity has been oppressive all day. Hey Google, what's the temperature in Sydney, Australia?
The temperature in Sydney right now is 69 degrees.
With a high of 71, and it's just about 1 o'clock p.m. there, and so they are experiencing their highs, or near their highs for the day. Um, hey Google, what's the temperature in New Orleans?
The current temperature in New Orleans is 86 degrees. Due to the current humidity, it feels like it's 96.
Well, the ambient temperature today was 93 high, and so it's coming down, but it's still, again, very oppressively hot in terms of humidity. Humidity is a ever-present uh, factor in South Louisiana during the summertime. Um, want to talk just a little bit. Oh, well, before we go, let's go on. Let's see what kind of humor Google has for us today. Hey Google, tell us a joke.
What happens when a frog's car breaks? It gets towed.
You know, I've actually heard that one before. So when Google starts to recycle, I'm not sure that's a I'm not sure that's a good thing. Uh, look to this evening, I want to just mention something. Just a thought. I want to put it out there. You know, people all over the country are making decisions to slow the pace of their lives because COVID-19 has thrusted that upon us, and some people have come to the conclusion, you know what, being at home, being with my family, and taking a slower pace at things is has opened my eyes to a new reality, and so they are, you know, holding on to that realization and beginning to make decisions to change their lives in terms of the pace of living. It doesn't necessarily mean simplifying, or rather throwing away things or slowing the pace to a crawl. No, it's just about simplifying and unburdening yourself with things that are just absolutely not necessary. And you'll find when you make that decision, a lot of things that we accumulate are just not necessary. You know, people have dealt with that with garage sales and things like that in the past. But the one thing about Americans, Western mindset, is that we tend to accumulate far more than we need. And so as we enter the reality of having a different mindset about simplifying life, then we start to reevaluate our possessions, and oftentimes we make some decisions about that. But it doesn't start and end there. That's just one aspect of it. We also have to do the same thing with the way we think about things and the way that we hold on to things, and make some decisions there too. When you make the decision to simplify, you realize that less is more. Less possessions, the less you have, the more you have. The less you have to worry about maintenance and replacing, the more time you have to spend with different, more precious pursuits. So it's good to make that decision as a function of your own volition, because that means that you are deciding and moving in that direction. But whether we like it or not, the country is also going to force a structural change on many people who are not prepared for it. You know, a lot of people are going to have to do a whole lot more with a whole lot less. And I'm not talking about the tens of millions of people who have found themselves unemployed during this COVID-19 situation, or who have found themselves for the first time in at food um, distribution centers. That's happening, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fundamental structural change of the society that we have called the United States from a capitalistic standpoint and from a sociological standpoint changing. And those changes are coming real quick. So if you're not prepared for it, it's going to really upend your sensibilities and cause you to really be affected emotionally in ways that you may not be, you may, that may totally undo you in a psychological sense. So I just want you to think about that. Think about the fact that if the country changed in a fundamental structural way, both economically and sociologically, how would you adapt to that? What would you do? Now, there are many responses to that, and I'm going to give you some things to think about in terms of how you would embrace that or be upended by those structural changes. Where are you spiritually? I mean, truly. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about relationship with God. Where are you? Are you where you need to be? Are you deluded? Are you truly living purely with a clean hands and a pure heart? That's a good question to ask. Another question. Economically, what's going on? Are you out of debt? Are you on a journey to be out of debt? Or are you just still spending like there's no tomorrow? Last question. Look at your possessions and the entries in your check in your bank ledger. What you spending money on? Still, is it? And I'm not trying to insinuate anything other than the fact that our bank ledger quantifies and itemizes our priorities. Take a look at yours and see what you're prioritizing these days. Before I go, I just want to remind you to drink water, stretch, move, stay active. Why? Because drinking water is good for you, and breathing deeply helps you keep your blood pressure normal without meds, and walking keeps you flexible. Just think about those things, and we'll talk about it more later, God willing. Have a good evening.